is the election. And one of the other sectors that we'll look into is the church and what they're doing in terms of making sure that there is peace and love and unity in the country as we head towards the election. Maybe particularly there's a story by Pastor Banda that is there. Of course, maybe you can take us through that particular story. But before you get into that, maybe we can just have a clip of him just making mention of what we need to do as a country moving forward.
As regards to COVID. Okay.
We expect people to observe safety regulations as given by the Ministry of Health, because COVID is still with us, and we must make sure that people's safety comes first. But more than anything, we're talking about the peace of Zambia. The peace of Zambia is assured when all our leaders are peace, and like we've said, we are very encouraged to see them signing. But now let's take it to the ground, signing peace accords. But now let's take it to the ground and manage the cadres and make sure that those who are involved in activities that are resulting in pockets of violence are identified, controlled, and we can assure peace so that there's no intimidation. And on the 12th of August, every Zambian should go out without fear that they will be harassed, so that they can exercise their democratic.
And of course, government says the country will tomorrow receive second consignment of 151,200 doses of Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine from United States government. You earlier mentioned a bit of this. And Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary for Technical Services, Dr. Kennedy Malama, says the vaccine will arrive tomorrow on an Emirate flight. And Dr. Malama says government still remembers its pledge it made in ensuring that vaccination program continued spreading. Now, of course, the Ministry of Health are doing their very best to make sure that the Zambian people are vaccinated, and we trickle down the spread of coronavirus so that we can get our community back in track. Exactly. But before we dive into other issues, of course, we have a clip specifically on this particular health item. Take a look.
We are thrilled to announce that tomorrow we'll be receiving another consignment of Johnson & Johnson, totaling 151,200 doses from the United States. Takes this opportunity to commend and appreciate the strategic partnership we continue to enjoy to the government of the United States of America. As you are aware, we made a pledge that our vaccination program for Zambia will continue expanding. Even as we report this progress, it's important to mention that the government of the Republic of Zambia did pay for a total of 4.4 million doses of Johnson & Johnson. Part payment was made, and all we are waiting for are these doses to arrive in the country within the third quarter of this year.
Well, there you had it for yourself. So that's what we have for the COVID-19 stories, particularly as far as the health is concerned. Now, of course, we are streaming live on our Facebook page, that's Live TV. Make sure you like our page, and also make sure you like our Instagram, that's at Live TV Africa. Now, of course, in the studio, we have the police. That's going to be having a conversation. We're going to be breaking word on a couple of pertinent issues that we need just to talk about. And then also we have African Direction that will be joining us as we have topical conversation on the issues that are happening in our community.
Exactly.
That's something that we're going to be having. But we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have this particular, of course. Wait, yes, I wanted to jump to this, but before I take them on a break, I said, no, we need to have a breakfast when we come back.
Exactly.
We're going to have breakfast when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're still watching Live Breakfast with me, Danji, and Brenda. Brenda,
I love the way you
I don't
pronounce
know.
my name.
Brenda.
Brenda.
So Brenda,
Yo.
breakfast. It's breakfast show, but breakfast cannot be complete without a breakfast, of course.
Exactly.
And since we're not today, we said let's not do a showcasing of breakfast being made. Let's have a conversation around
breakfast.
what breakfast. Maybe let's start like this, Brenda. What breakfast? What makes an ideal breakfast for
An
you?
ideal breakfast for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Bread, butter, with jam, with black tea.
Why that combination?
I just don't know. I love jam. I love bread. I love butter. But then, if that's not there, there's no jam, there's no butter. I stick to my candle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just with all the sweet potatoes.
Sweet
yes.
potatoes are always,
Exactly.
nice. Yeah.
And very healthy.
Yeah, so I know for a fact that breakfast is the best starter that a person can ever have because it's
Exactly.
like an important meal of the day.
Yeah.
But of course, you have other meals, but
In between. But then, as you start the day,
as you start the day.
exactly, you just have to have something.
So last time Chef Sophie did prepare for us, is it pizza bread?
Pizza bread.
Pizza,
yeah.
pizza bread.
Pizza bread.
I tried to make that. You know what happened?
Disaster.
It was-
I can imagine, Danji.
It
I
wasn't
can
up to
imagine.
point. I tried though. It was not up to.
Anyway, thumbs up
to
for
date yet.
trying.
Yeah, I tried.
There are
yeah.
few guys like you who can do that.
Anyway,
I
yeah.
must say,
So moving forward, I think we can now have a conversation around other issues.
other issues.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of which, Zambia goes to the polls in 14 days from today. And as such, we just want to find out the atmosphere from the general public on how prepared they are and what do they expect on that day? What do you expect on that day?
I'm going to say that after we hear from what the general public
From
have
what
to
the
say.
general, what
Yeah.
about you? What do you expect?
Like I said, I will tell you.
Okay.
I will tell you.
Let's get to this clip.
Pane tienda towards my elections setifuna tipe peace Zambia. Mune vazakawina party zakawina vakawina so chabe so chanichifuna kutendera kuti mayouth menyana violence sifuna. This is a Christian nation.
Chametifuna muno muzambia ni peace. Since wanaita declare kuti muzambia nation. Stifuna vande obomenyana siviwama. Ndipe vantu vamosi. Wamene wameaza kabwera. Tiza zangaraze one persons mwaonaka. Ivomenyana we lose nothing. Ona ni malaifu ya bantu mwameva mafera abantu ati bandomenyana pano kuti kumakampeni uku kuchita bwanji tingoluza chape malaifu ya bantu vomenyana iyayi tifuna chape tinkale chape mwamena kambira ba president bati baleta ti one Zambia one nation we declare that tuna peace
Ife tulefwafye mu Zambia mutende inkondo tatulefwayo okufuma fe na kale kwali umutende so umutende fe otulelomba kuti upitirire
ndeba kwa amayuthi abananji pakuya mkuvota kuba KF apa ichalo ni one Zambia one nation takuli vya kumo muno vya koma panga weseni tubombere pamo yadi shibwa kale president ni Edgar Karungu so apa tuya kuma election yae twala sala leader manje ni wisa leader twala bikapo so mwe bantu takuli chongwawe sen tubombere pamo
tikaende chemshemushe kiumshemushe na kwenda vota pene ufuna chewe mwine wake abaza kankalako ngati ndio ba security abo funika baka making sure kuti tikavote chemshemushe na peace mshemushe na ma election na maliza uti yakachokeche perfect mshemushe peace bonse tikakondwe.
Welcome back. You're still watching Live Breakfast, and those were the views from the general public in regards to the election and what they expect as the election unfolds. Now, of course, in the studio this morning, I'm joined by the police. In particular, I'm joined by Esther Katongo. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
I'm super excited, but before we jump into the conversation, I know there's a lot of things that we need to talk about, but just to ask, how is the police force?
We are okay. We are used to our busy schedule. Because for us, every day, it's a busy day because we have something to do at least in a day. So we are okay, yeah.
Now, there's 14 days remaining now as we head towards the election. Maybe one of the questions that I would ask you is, what is the police doing to make sure that, to ensure that there is peace as we approach the election and after the election?
For the Zambia police, we plan in advance. So we did our planning before actually the campaign started. Let me say before the nominations. So at the moment we are just implementing that which we planned. And the most important aspect for the Zambia police is to have human resource on the ground or manpower on the ground. So we already deployed our officers. Even in areas where we had shortfalls, we have already reinforced. We are just waiting for the last reinforcement of recruits. That is when the ground gets hotter than it is now. As you have seen from where we started from, the environment was a bit calm, and everyone went ahead with their political activities, even at the time when relevant authorities could suspend some of the activities. We saw people obliging to that, to whatever was pronounced. But as we head closer to the poll day, we are seeing a lot of political parties wanting to get to the ground. They are desperate that they want to get to the ground and meet the electorate. But again, there are COVID-19 regulations which were passed, so now we are seen as if now we are in confrontation with those that would want to get to the ground. But ours is law enforcement, and we have to enforce it the way it has been given to us and ensure that law and order prevails and ensure that the COVID-19 regulations are observed so that we don't see an upswing in the cases of COVID-19. So answering your question, we are ready, we are on the ground, we are monitoring the situation, and we are responding according to what we have been faced with on the ground.
Now, I understand this is a very important year, and of course the police service will play a very key role in making sure that peace prevails at the end of the day. But maybe just to get an understanding from an institution point of view, what are some of the challenges? I know that there's an issue of candidates wanting to meet the electorate. What are some of the other major challenges beside the confrontation with the leaders that want to go into the community?
You know, for us, we don't feast on challenges. For us, we concentrate on positives. And where there is a challenge, we will not take that as a challenge because we need to find a way of sorting out what we have been faced with. So it's like you are in a boxing ring, then you start telling your opponent to say, for me, I think when you hit me here, that is my weakness. You know, you are telling your opponent. So for us, we don't like telling people or members of the public what our challenges are. So like I mentioned, there's only the aspect of people wanting to get to the ground, and we understand to say that yes, it is an election year and they need to go to the ground and talk to their people, talk to the electorate, sell their manifesto. But there are regulations which are in place, which have been passed. There is also the Public Order Act, which is there. It's not suspended. So for us, it's law enforcement. So even when people would want to continue getting on the ground, we have officers on the ground who are going to repel them. So that's the nature of our work.
Yeah. Of recent, we did see or witness two political parties. Of course, I can make mention, but we did see two political parties that were involved in political violence, of course. And the ECZ did suspend of course, campaigns by these political parties. Maybe just moving forward in terms of making sure that now those vices don't happen again. What are some of the measures that the police has put in place in regards to that?
Deployment. We have officers on the ground. We have got regulating officers. I think just, is it 2 days ago, we had a statement which came from the Inspector General of Police, because last week we had a spate of violence happening in some areas. We had the Sioma violence, we had the Chisamba violence, we had the Nangoma violence, among other areas. Solwezi also, people were dispersed there using tear gas by police officers. So ours is to have police officers on the ground, and the Inspector General of Police has given strict and very clear instructions that all regulating officers, our regulating officers are those that regulate the conduct of people in a public place, and these are officers in charge of stations. So an instruction has been given that the IG doesn't want to see groupings, rallies, processions, because from the regulations which were passed by ECZ, which have not yet been lifted, there is no public gathering that is being allowed. So for us, it's enforcement, and those on the ground have been given strict instructions that no one is seen in huge crowds. Yes.
There are rumors, I don't know if they are facts, that soldiers will be deployed during the election. And of course, apart from that aspect, people are now panicking. And maybe from your end, what are some of the assurance message that you're going to give the people of Zambia to not live in fear, for example?
At the moment, we are still able to manage the situation. We haven't had an overwhelming situation. We are not overwhelmed by what is happening on the ground. We are able to control the situation. But if people would want to take a different route where they would want to have to perpetrate violence everywhere, and we become overwhelmed, as the Zambia police, His Excellency the President can invoke his powers to have the defense also come to beef up the Zambia Police Service. So that can happen, but it is a prerogative of the President, because the army will not just wake up and get on the street. There must be an instruction, a directive that should come from the head of state. So if the head of state will see that maybe we are overwhelmed as police, because people are saying, no, but police, you don't even have numbers. Us, we have numbers as members of the public. We also have numbers. So if we are not enough in the police, we have a backup. We have our colleagues in the defense. And what people don't know is that every time we have got meetings, we call, starting from the district level, provincial level, and the national level, we meet to discuss the security of the nation. So even in an instance where we are overwhelmed as police with numbers, then our colleagues from the defense will come in to beef us up. So that is dependent on the directives that are going to be given by His Excellency the President, if he deems it fit that he has to release or deploy the defense.
You're catching us on Top Star Channel 112 and also streaming live on Facebook. Do send your message and comment via our Facebook platform. Now, there's another concern from the general public in regards to the election. There is a say to say the police favors the party in government rather than the impartial aspect of enforcing the law, of course. Is that true?
That has always been there. Even at the time when I retire, my child, maybe, or your child who is unborn, becomes a police officer, that saying will still be there. Why? Because we have this political party at a particular time, which sponsors, after winning an election, it sponsors its people into government. They are the ones who fill up government positions, and they form government together with other institutions and members of the public together. Then you have also our institution, which is Zambia Police, which is part of government. So you have this political party has sponsored its members to form government, and those people in government, they are implementing the policies of this political party. Then those policies also affect the police, which is an institution which is in government. So already those who are outside the system, those who are not in government, who have these groupings or political parties who are not in government, will feel since police is government, then they are implementing the policies of this political party which is in power, they are favoring this political party, which is not the case. The law is very clear. Where you feel you are not being favored, you are able to go to court and challenge the decisions which police make. You know, the problem is that those who are outside will always complain and make noise to say if you don't allow them maybe to have a gathering, they'll, because of that preconceived idea which they have, they feel it's because the police are working with these people who are sponsored in government. That's why they don't want to allow us to have a gathering. When you give them a go ahead, they will not say no, we're not pass our police to go ahead. It is only in instances where we say no, that's when they will come out. So it is normal, and everywhere it happens like that, and we are going to live with it.
Is there something being done to change the narrative?
You can't change a person who is thinking. A person is reasoning, then that person has made a decision, and they feel that that position which they have taken, it is to their benefit, because once they say that, other people, will sympathize with them. So it will always be like that. Even those who were in power in the past, today they're saying, no, the police are this, because that's how it is. A person makes a decision, a person is a human being that thinks. So a person will decide what position to take. So we may not say that it may change, others may change, others may not change, but that saying will still be there forever and ever until Jesus comes.
The message to the general public as we head to the election, especially when it comes to peace, unity, and love, what would you want to say to the general public?
You know, we have one Zambia, one nation. We were born in this society, and we are going to leave this society. We've had people who were born in Zambia, in our society we are living in today, and they are no longer here. Maybe we say 100 years back. They were here, they've gone. So we need to look at, doing the right thing, doing the correct thing, that will preserve the peace that we have here, the way those who were there before preserved the peace which we are enjoying today. So even those that are coming after us, they also need to find a peaceful Zambia. We are just a part of a total society, and we don't own society. We are just part of society. So it doesn't pay for us to disturb the peace which we have today, so that our children and the children's children come and suffer because of our carelessness that we may portray today, just because of self-interest. So for those that have got grievances, let them follow the normal procedure. Let them get to relevant institutions and register their complaints, as opposed to buying pangas, getting access and getting to the street to go and hack each other. That one, no.
Thank you so much for coming to Life Breakfast, and all the best as you provide servitude to this great country.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the invitation.
All right. Now, culture is a very important component in our lives. It builds society, it bonds society, and it creates the uniqueness of a society. Now, as we, of course, talk about culture, it's very important to know, of course, where we come from and the values we hold as a people. Take a look.
Got their own beliefs and customs. The Chinese have got their own beliefs and customs. Europeans and Indians, Africans. So And then there is a question of modernity which has come in. We seem to be mistaking modernity to disregard of our cultural values, you know. We are putting modernity to mean that all people are equal, young or old, you are all equal. I know that our level of respect amongst the young has degenerated to a level that is an African. Where we are not exhibiting the African values, because the African values, they recognize the age of a person. They recognize the age of the person, and they will behave in a manner that befits the age difference. But what we see now is that our young colleagues are playing equal with adults. They are playing equal with old people. They are playing equal in everything. Take for instance, if an old person is standing on the queue trying to buy something or pay for something, if that old person tries to go in front to pay and bypass small boys or small girls and youths, the youths will riot. You know, we came here earlier, but it's just a question of recognition that they have got the energies to stand on the queue for longer hours than the person who is old. So naturally, they need to give that person first priority. Our core values and cultural values have degenerated. There is copy and paste in terms of manners and behaviors. We do not understand that Africans have got their own system of governance. Africans have got their own cultural and traditional beliefs. And those must not be eroded, because what it means is that if we copy and paste on everything that is African, we replace it with the copies that we are getting from Europe, then there will be no Africa. Because Africa, the identity of Africa is tied to our behavior and culture and customs. So if all those customs are wiped away and replaced with Western customs and cultures, that means African culture will be wiped out. There will be nothing to talk about Africa, because Africa is the identity. The identity is in our cultural behavior, our customs. We are replacing with foreign values that are not African. And so that is causing a problem from my point of view. I think there's need for us to do what we can in our own respective homes to get our children appreciate who we are as Africans. There is nothing wrong, there's nothing inferior about the African customs and culture. It's actually rich, and other people are envious of this. And we are also trying to be envious of those who are envying us. Come on, let's hit what you call a balance and preserve our culture, because that's what makes us Africans.
Welcome back. And now, of course, culture will forever remain prominent in our society. Brenda, culture. It's a very interesting subject matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, we are governed by rules and laws, but then culture will always be culture, because as a country, our forefathers, they've always lived that cultural way. You understand, right? So Zambia is also embedded with natural principles, national principles, and values.
And these are what
As
define
such.
our identity.
Exactly.
Makes us unique.
Yes.
All right.
We have customs, beliefs, and traditions that we should follow as a country. You understand?
Great.
Do you believe in culture?
I believe it. I'm a culture person. I'm proud where I come from, and I feel like that's what makes me different, and that's where my uniqueness comes from.
I don't know, but there's just something about this new generation. They don't believe in that.
No, I think the pop culture has elevated itself to a certain degree that people are not talking about their roots very much. And this is something that now we need not to leave to millennials alone.
Exactly.
Parents have to take responsibility to inculcate proper culture values
Yes.
to their children so that they might treasure and uphold those values
Yes.
for them to grow up in that
that's
unique way, which is very important.
Exactly. I'm impressed.
I'm a culture person. I'm a culture person. You know how much I love my country, but not enough. Anyway, here at Live TV, before I jump into what we have to offer, make sure you send us a message on our Facebook platform as we are streaming live there.
Yes.
And of course, catch us on Topstar Channel 112. Now, we have a lot of jam-packed shows that we have here on Live TV, of course. Some of the show, of course, if you want governance issues, of course, we have the manifesto and the ballot and Live TV special. If you want entertainment, we have the Next Gen, of course, and we have Sounds of Triumph. And then, of course, we have Lifestyle. I know you always come on this one. And, of course, we have Tenor Friday, which gets you on a Friday mood as you get to the
Funky
weekend.
Friday.
Funky Friday. And we have, of course, being a Christian, having Christian principles that we hold dearly as Live TV. Of course, we have a jam pack of lined up program, Christian content for you that will enrich your soul and your spirit. Moving on, Brenda.
Moving on. Are we not going to show the videos?
Yeah, that's what I wanted you to do.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Take a look.
You're always catching me off guard, Ntanji.
What hits your mind when you hear the word agriculture? Food. Welcome to the Agripreneur Show. The Agripreneur Show brings you nothing but the very best in the agriculture world. On this show, we begin to understand further what our farmers go through, what they deal with to bring us food every day in our lives. Catch me every Saturday at 16 hours as I bring you agriculture on your screen.
Fridays are not just Fridays anymore. Why? Because Live TV brings you an exciting program called Lifestyle. Full of interaction, entertainment, and packed with educative segments.
I'm living in what one might call, well, it's a secular world.
You find a young person seated there because he has also paid. You continue to sit.
As a country, it is very important to keep pace with the prevailing condition in our society in order to define the future now through ideas that are more resilient. Join me, Danji Duncan Simwanza, every Monday at 20:30. The Manifesto Show, a platform that gives you an opportunity to get to listen to different manifestos by different political parties, only on Live TV channel 112 on your Topstar decoders. Make a day.
What's up, my people, my country people? Guess what? It is the Next Gen season 2. We are coming bigger, better, funnier. We have a whole lot of creatives lined up for you. This particular season is proudly sponsored by Lusaka Institute of Applied Sciences every Saturday, and we are clocked at 14 hours. Do not miss it, because you'll be missing your own entertainment. It is your favorite TV host, Mr. Martin Lawrence Mutale. Let's do this.
Those are some of the exciting shows Live TV has to offer you. Remember, we're streaming live on our Facebook page. That's Live TV. Make sure you like that page and follow us on Instagram as well. Because I'm with my colleague Brenda. Brenda, we are still having a conversation, and I'm not done with you yet.
Yeah,
now I know. On this program, of course, we give people a pill. Like it's like a drug, but a drug to. It's like a drug that gives, of course, people the motivation that they need. Now that we are going to jump into the morning pill, we have to give them the right message so that they get that message as a starter for their day.
Jump starting.
Yes,
it's a beautiful message.
So initially, before I know you're going to be chatting with
Mark Chilongo.
From African Direction.
Yes.
But before you chat with them, we're going to just give the viewers, of course, a starter pack of the morning pill so that they can just get their planning and their energy directed to the right channel, of course. And of course, the first one.
But aren't you the one who's going to start?
I know. That's why I'm actually having this conversation.
You're bullying me. You're bullying me, Danji. You're bullying me.
Okay, so initially, the morning pill. So the first one that we're going to give you this morning comes from Larry J. Sabato, of course. He's African. He's African? He is African.
Larry.
It sounds
Sabato.
African. Sounds weird. Okay, so he says that in every election is determined by the people who show up. Quite interesting. You know what he said? Every election is determined by the people who show up. That's Larry.
Exactly.
If you don't show up,
voter apathy.
No, if you don't show up again, that election won't be defined the way you saw it or the way you predicted it as a person.
Exactly, because you won't be satisfied with the results because you didn't show up.
So show up during the election and determine the election. It's as simple as that.
Show up
to determine.
Exactly.
It is cool. All right, moving forward. The other one is bad officials are elected by good citizens who do not vote. Quite fascinating.
Who do not what?
Who do not vote. I'm just like, this is like coming from Georgine Nathan. And I feel like these two morning pills, they're intertwined if you are followed. I think the other one just shows the determination to vote. The other one just takes you through understanding to say that, of course, officials can be elected by good citizens who do not
don't
vote.
So if you don't vote,
you vote in bad leaders.
I rest my case.
All right.
And another one here says, if we don't vote, we are ignoring history and giving away the future. That's Pat Michelle. If you don't vote, you're doing what? Ignoring the future and giving away what? We're ignoring history and giving away what? The future. So the future lies in who? In our hands.
Yes.
And this one, of course, I think this one is a homemade. Our motto, one Zambia, one nation. Let's turn up in numbers and vote. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda.
Wow. May he so rest in
May he so
peace.
rest
Yeah.
in peace, yeah.
Great morning pill. Read that one again.
Dr. Kenneth Kaunda?
Yes.
For the lead. Our motto is one Zambia, one nation. Let's turn up in numbers and vote.
All this morning pill today is driven and centered on election. And for us as a country to honor Dr. Kenneth Kaunda with this wonderful message, of course, we need to turn up in numbers and exercise our right to
Our
vote.
rights, exactly.
Now, of course, we're going to take a short musical break. Yeah? Musical
What are the
break.
inspirational quote? Aren't you going to inspire people this morning?
No,
Oh, you
let's
just want to go on.
Let's just. Oh, okay. I think before we go that on the break, let's motivate our people so that they can get the right energy
Exactly.
for the as they conclude the week.
Yes.
Okay. So the other quote that I'm gonna be giving you this morning, of course, is coming from William James, and it says, "It is our attitude at the beginning of a difficult task which, more than anything else, will affect its successful outcome." I just read it like that because I wanted to put emphasis on that. But I'm going to read it now straight up. It is our attitude at the beginning of a difficult task which, more than anything else, will affect its successful outcome. That's William James.
What do you make of that?
The
attitude.
The attitude is very important.
Exactly.
I say you have to have a positive, a good attitude towards everything that you do in life,
Exactly.
because your attitude towards something defines the outcome of a particular thing that you're doing. So if you woke up today with a bad attitude, your day might be
ruined.
Exactly. Few people make way if they woke up with a bad attitude, but they pave way to do something good. Few people, but almost it's proven that if you start,
you can't hide
so
it.
wake up feeling nice,
can't
wake up
hide
saying today is my day, and I'm gonna do great.
But then there comes someone and just disturbs your mood. What happens?
We are prone to have those, but if you started your day, it's like you send something to your brain, like you acutely start something in your brain, say that Danji today is having a good day. So no matter what comes in after this starting point, doesn't matter.
So it all borders at on
The starting
attitude.
point when you wake up,
with a
have
good
an
attitude.
Yes.
Exactly. So what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. Zig Ziglar.
Yeah, this man is famous for quotes. What do you make of that?
What you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become in achieving your goals.
Sounds like a riddle.
I'm telling you.
Like you're trying to make way, or like it's a puzzle some kind.
Exactly.
But what do you make of this? Tell us what you make of this quote by sending us a message on our Facebook platform. That's live TV, of course, but it's quite interesting. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, of course, Brenda will be chatting with African Direction, and let's just see what that will unveil. As we come back, we're going to take this break.
so much, viewers, for still staying glued to Live TV. You're watching Live Daily Breakfast Show. And in the studio, I'm now joined by Africa Directions Executive Director, that's Mark Chilongu. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, and a very good morning to all Live TV viewers, and good morning to you, Brenda. It's been a while.
It's been a while indeed.
Yeah,
We're glad to have you here at Live
No,
TV.
I'm grateful also. I'm grateful to Live TV for inviting me to be part of this show, and yeah, so here we are.
So how is Africa Directions?
Well, Africa Directions is good. We are thriving. You know that we are around the issues of COVID-19. So we are also grappling on how we can try and still remain afloat and relevant, and see how best do we continue to engage the young people even amid the COVID-19 pandemic. So we are basically trying to see how we can use technology to widen reach, and also to ensure that we have continuous engagement with the young people. But otherwise, as an organization, we are grateful that we are able to face the turbulences, and also just be able to ensure that we remain relevant.
Exactly. So speaking of which,
Yes.
what role do you play in ensuring that the young ones are also involved in governance?
All right, so Africa Directions has one of its strategic areas of focus is on governance, ensuring that young people meaningfully participate in shaping their own environments, and also ensuring that they are part of the governance system of the country. We looked at that because we realized that there was really a gap in terms of young people meaningfully participating, either at community, municipal, or even at national level. So our role has always been just to ensure that for the last 4 years, we've been trying to empower young people, build capacity for them to understand their role, and also ensure that they meaningfully participate in the governance system. So if they want to stand, or not just even just standing for elections, governance is broad. So it means that young people should be able to also see what is it that they can do for their own community. Okay, so that's part of governance as well. So we've been doing that for the last 4 years, and we are grateful to some of our supporters like Plan International, KNH from Germany. We've also had EUMA Foundation that have been supporting us to try and ensure that we build capacity of these young people. So yeah, so that's what we've been doing. So, and then what we've also been doing is that we knew that elections are coming. So we realized that young people also need to be sensitized so that they can make informed choices when they look at their politicians and what the politicians are selling to them, because the majority are the young people. The young people are faced with a number of social, economic, and environmental challenges. So how best do we deal with these issues? How are they bringing out these issues? Say socially, we have been asking young people, can you really look and see in terms of maybe recreation for young people? What is it that they are saying, the politicians? And if it resonates with you, then you can make a choice and say, I'll choose this political party B or C or A, because they are really talking about how they will uplift my own issues, my own challenges socially. So those are some of the things.
Interesting. We are in an election year.
Yes.
How is the atmosphere when it comes to the youth in your community?
Well, the atmosphere is quite bad, to say the least. Why do I say so? Because we've seen that, again, we keep on repeating as a country that we want to use young people as tools of violence. And we've also seen that that is why you've seen the number of peace accords being signed, because this has continuously happened. So we are perpetuating lawlessness, we are perpetuating violence as a country. But it is good that also politicians realize that indeed this is not the right way to go, and they decided to actually come together and sign these peace accords. The cry of everyone, including ourselves, is that it should not just be on paper. They should be able to sign peace accord and practice what they have signed, and not today they sign to show the cameras and the media that this is what is happening, and then on the other side they're doing the opposite. So for us that is saddening, because we feel that this is a critical time, and because it's a critical time, we want to allow those citizens that do not involve themselves in a number of lawless activities to really go and vote freely, so that they can make their own right choices, instead of them being threatened or they fear to go to the polling station because they might be find themselves or maybe bump into a violent activity. So it is our plea that all politicians should really play their part in ensuring that we uphold the peace that we have been enjoying, and also
from time immemorial.
From time immemorial, from the time we got our independence. Yes. So we must honor the people that fought for the freedom of this country by ensuring that we do free and fair elections yes. without violence.
Okay, so do you think young ones have been included in this year's election?
Well, it's a yes and no. Mm-hmm. We've seen some of the political parties that have embraced young people, but not to the satisfaction of us as an organization. We've also seen how young people have been sidelined and they've ended up taking up independent positions in this year's election. So that really shows that there is need to also have a deliberate policy within these political parties to have a certain percentage of young people who should be able to represent these political parties. Just like what we have seen with our women folk, we hope that for the next elections, 2026, political parties should be able to have just a specific policy, just to say for this time around, we'll have 20% of representation coming from our young people. Then we'll be able to see that actually our politicians are walking the talk. We don't just want them to pronounce that they'll do this for young people, they'll do what for young people. Young people are innovative. Young people are creative. Young people can provide substance and to the table that can help shape the country in a very different way. So we must embrace them, and we must be able to ensure that they are part of the political agenda, but also the development agenda.
But do you think young ones are taken seriously when it comes to such?
You see, we have had this misconception about young people. Mm-hmm. And this is about thinking that young people cannot run their own programs, they cannot take leadership because they're still young. And you've seen there is also this adage from the Bembas, which says, "Miti kura empanga." You know, and our old folks wants to rely on that just to ensure that young people should wait until they grow. That's when they can take up leadership roles. But it's not like that. We should have a mixture of the old and the young. That way the young come in with fresh ideas because things have changed. The old will provide the wisdom and direction on how best the country can move forward. So the two can actually blend to ensure that we have a country that is given a direction where all feel embraced and all feel part of a collective agenda of trying to move the country forward. So we need to really try and see how best that we can continue trusting young people, because if we don't trust them, then they become frustrated. And when they become frustrated, then they start using other means to air out their grievance and also to ensure that they are also heard. So it is important that we begin to trust young people, especially with leadership positions, because we know the innovation, we know the creativity that comes from the young people.
Others might say young people get excited. Is it true? Because once you give a young person maybe 35,000 kwacha,
yes,
that person has never handled 35,000 kwacha before, and then here you are, you give them a 35,000 kwacha.
Yeah. So
just the excitement.
We should say some, but when you generalize, it means that you are saying.
So yes, we said some.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've witnessed that as an organization. We've witnessed where we've seen young people, and for me, that's where the disappointment comes in. When a young person is given a leadership position, they change the way they walk, they change the way they talk, everything else changes. And and that also makes us become enemies of ourselves. So we don't want to see a fellow young person progress because we feel, akankalapaja, you'll be like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we really need to ensure that when we are given positions of authority, we must actually act exemplary so that other young people can emulate you. So changing. Yes, we've seen, and even with our old folks, we've seen some that really are very humble when they are asking for, and when they get the power, you can tell that, wow, now this is who. Exactly, and they don't see that they are servants of the people. And for me, that is something that Zambians must begin to look at. Whenever you ask yourself and say, I want to be an area member of parliament, I want to be a councillor, I want to be president, the first thing that should always ring in your mind is that you are a servant of the people and you are not the boss. The moment you feel you are the boss, then everything else crumbles.
When
and
that
that
gets to
also, yes, exactly. When it gets to you, everything else crumbles and you detach yourself with the people. And that can also apply with the young people. So we see young people really detaching themselves from reality when they have been given the opportunity to lead or the opportunity to have the position of power. So we really need to just know how we can handle this situation. I was 19, Brenda, when we started Africa Directions. I have never changed. 20 years down the line, I am still the same person. I deal with the people, the young people, even the current young people that are growing. I interact with them. I can easily walk in any space and interact with the lower class and the upper class. So it is just how you handle your leadership.
Yourself. So it's dependent upon an individual.
Exactly.
Thank
It's
you so
dependent
much.
upon an individual and how you yourself perceive your leadership roles. Because
Exactly.
sometimes all of us, it gets into us, but at the end of the day,
We have to tone down.
Exactly. Tone down.
And just be ourselves.
Be yourself, but also ensure that you are firm, you are reading, you are also learning from others who have had similar positions before, like, say, great leaders that have contributed immensely to
We
this
can
world.
go on and on and on because I know you. You never stop.
Yes.
Okay, so as we
I'm
wind
just
up,
passionate about this.
I know,
You
I
what?
know. Thank you so much. So as we wind up our interview, what are your expectations on the 12th of August as we head to the D-Day with 14 days to go?
As a Zambian, as an individual, as Mark, and also a representative of a youth organization, my expectations are that we should be able to have a free and fair process of people voting, also violence-free, ensure that all Zambians, especially the young people, go and vote in numbers so that they can exercise their right to vote, because this is a fundamental right that a young person has. So we need to ensure that that happens. Apart from that, we also implore our leaders that after the 12th,
There's life.
there's life, and also that let the winner take the lead, and also those that will lose on that particular day should embrace that they've lost. And
Thank
then
you.
we move on as a country.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Maximo.
much, Brenda. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There you have it, viewers. You've heard it for yourselves. Let's have a free and fair election, violence-free. Well, right about now, let's just get to a piece of music.
Follow, chikwanishe chikatileni na papata follow 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 chuta wa kuchema lukonka neo lukonka shua lukonka muri Yesu lukonka mama sika na kondwela muri Yesu lukonka mama sika na kondwela lukonka neo lukonka neo lukonka muri Yesu lukonka maganda neo sika na kondwela muri Yesu lukonka sika na kondwela. Chuta wale wanakondwela mama baliboze mwatinda mu moyo wanu chuta wale wanakondwela mama baliboze mwatinda mu moyo wanu ai uchiuda wewe leo nakondela mama inononka ndinu wapambana uchiuda wewe leo nakondela mama natalisika nakondela mama natalisika nakondela shuwa natalisika nakondela unatalisika nakondela mama natalisika unatalisika natalisika natalisika Nadalisika na kondwela neo nadalisika na kondwela nadalisika na kondwela mama neo nadalisika na kondwela nadalisika na kondwela shua shua nadalisika na kondwela nadalisika na kondwela neo nadalisika na kondwela nadalisika na kondwela neo nadalisika na kondwela.
Thank you, viewers, for still staying glued to Live TV. You can do well to like and share our page. That's Live TV Zambia. Ndanji, we've had a fantastic show. We've had powerful guests on our program, and we had Madam Esther Katongo, who just...
Yeah, we spoke about many things as we approach the election. And of course, the police have assured us on many issues, of course, as we approach the election.
And having a peaceful election.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 14 days to go. Get prepared. Carry your NRC and your voter's card as we head towards the election. And on that particular day, don't forget to mask up.
Yeah.
Ndanji, if I were to give you a 35,000 kwacha, what should you do?
On a Wednesday like this, when we are having our currency performing very well to a dollar, of course, Zambian kwacha jumped the most since December 2019. Of course, soaring commodity prices helped ease investor concern about the debt revamp. Now, of course, if we're going to look at numbers, of course, the currency, the kwacha, has gained 5.1% against the dollar.
Wow.
Of course, this happens, of course, at 6:41 p.m. Lusaka time, of course. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Yes, and of course the advancement can now, the advancement is at 13.6% this month, according to the financial analysis and what is happening that we cannot dive into much deeper. Of course, Zambia on Tuesday was recognized also by Bloomberg as the best, of course, world best performing currency, which is good.
Very good.
I think this is good.
We are heading the right direction.
Answering your question now, I will put my money in forex trade.
Wow. Just wow.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing, and I think I think there's so much surprise that's going to be coming in as far as our currency is concerned. And I think this is good on our marketplace, especially for everybody in this country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Danji, we've had a fantastic breakfast show.
Always nice to have a conversation with you, Brenda.
Same here. Well, viewers, I always say whatever goes up, but surely come down. So this is where we wrap up our breakfast show for today. See you on Friday.
But
Bye-bye.
whatever you do, make sure you have a profitable day.
Bye-bye.
What hits your mind when you hear the word agriculture? Food. Welcome to the Agripreneur Show,